when I was with SC, where Questlove spoke. Yeah. And so they, he was asked, talk to me about how you got started. And he, it's like, well, we were a crew and da-da-da-da. He's like, but it's not all, like straight to the recordings or whatever. He was like, we were a crew. We were trying to get known. Let me tell you what they used to do. At the beginning of the week, they would map out the bus routes in Philly and decide which bus stops they were going to play at all day.
Wow.
In the hopes that some frat boy was going to give them an opportunity to play at a frat party on the weekend. Now remember, this is like early 90s or whatever. It's not like the frat parties was going to pay them $3,000.
Right.
They out here on the streets with their equipment, performing, in the chance to make a couple of $100, but to get the exposure across campus, right? Because Philly, it's not just UPenn. There's Villanova, Drexel. There's a bunch of schools. So for them, it was like this is how we're going to circulate. RZA, Wu-Tang did a show. I want to say in Brooklyn. Back in the day, there used to be a club in Brooklyn. They did a show for $100. Now remember, there's like 10 of those dudes. Mm-hmm. Right? They all gave their share to ODB because ODB had kids.
Wow.
So like basically, yo, you just take it, man. Take the $100. Mm-hmm. They got asked to do a show in Texas, which they went and did. Again, these fools. Thank you. Again, these fools paid them $100. They got back to the hotel. A $100 bill was fake.
Wow.
Did those cats stop talking about I'm gonna lean back and just see how this, like when somebody is willing to pay me to make my album, no, they were like, yo, I know I have what it takes to get where I'm trying to go, and these are just setbacks, right? We first of all, it's also a little bit different with the Roots and with Wu-Tang because they had a crew, they had a squad. We all gonna make it together. But most of these cats, when they're hooping, like there's the kind of like, oh, you the best dude in the neighborhood. But when you get past that level and you start talking about being the best kid in high school, that's work. That's time. Right. And it's not promised. You could get hurt, whatever. And you might have cats in the neighborhood who are like, yo, leave that dude alone. He's trying to go someplace. Yeah. But there's nobody who can go into the gym for you. Right. Ain't nobody who can it's like, yo, if you want this, you gotta go get it.
Right.
And this is for people who, no amount of practice is gonna make me able to jump, run, and do the things that Mitch could do, right? Like part of that is just he was blessed with the physical ability to be in the conversation. But to be able to get where he got, the physical ability is not going to do it. And you can't sit back and wait for somebody. Like, what is that? Yeah. Right? When we were growing up, everybody was like, you got to work twice as hard to get half as far.
The story you're telling us, how did you learn this? How did you come by this story? Is this something that happened at UCLA? Or did you just research it?
So like I said, I heard it from Questlove's mouth. I didn't know that he just told the story.
Wow.
The same thing. I heard, I prepping for my interview with RZA, I did my homework. Right. And I saw him, talking to some DJs in New York about getting stiffed in Texas. And I knew the other story about, them playing for cheap in Brooklyn. But he was like, oh yeah, this is this thing that happened in Texas. We didn't even get no money. It was fake money.
So how did RZA's story go over with your audience?
We didn't tell it. That's my whole point.
So you're gonna blow it out, right?
Right. So this is my whole point. Is that I'm sitting here having a conversation with RZA, Scratch, and Joy Brown, who's over at ICM Partners. She's the founder of Culture Creators, and it's a 45-minute conversation for a business industry type audience. So we're not even getting to the point because we're not really the knowledge we're trying to impart is how do you see opportunities and what's going on and blah, blah. But we're not really trying to get at the young cats telling them, yo, but this is what it's going to take.
This is the grit.
There's a space in between what I was doing on stage and the nonsense Puffy had people doing on his TV show. Right? You want folks to be hungry, but you got to explain to them why it is that you need to apply some effort.
Right.
Where's the effort? The effort needs to be directed, and folks need to understand. And this is what it's going to feel like. Because the same thing you were doing is what any entrepreneur has to do. It's lonely sometimes.
Well, and that's what I said on the thing. It all branches together, but it all branches together.
Well, to your point about loneliness, RZA himself, I was there in the audience. when they were doing the interview. One of the most compelling moments was when RZA looked out in the audience and said, "You might have your starting partner in this room sitting right